Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Parenthood. I am Neha, and this is a space where we sit with real parents and talk about the parts that don't make it to the highlight reels, the exhaustion, the ambition, the fights, the love, the rebuilding. Because parenting is not just about raising children, it's about negotiating identity, it's about partnership, it's about the silent battles no one sees. And today's episode is exactly that. I'm in conversation with Maya Varma, entrepreneur, co founder, and chief brand and product officer at Joker Witch and Teejh. She has built not one but two fashion brands with her husband and business partner Satish, whom she met back in 2013. They named their brand after their alter egos, the Joker and the Witch. They are building businesses together, raising three dogs and one human together. But what fascinates me about Maya's story is not just the entrepreneurship, it's the tension between building brands and building a family, between working 14 hours days and then coming home to a newborn, between partnership at work and partnership at home. And I'm so glad to be unpacking all of this and more with her today. Maya, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Neha. Thank you for having me here and for the wonderful introduction. I'm glad to be here and to share my story of how things have been for me and how my parenting journey has been.
Thank
So yeah.
you. Thank you. And if you had to describe yourself in three words or phrases, just who you are right now, what would they be?
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, as everybody kind of evolves as a person, every phase in your life kind of changes who you are. But there are certain things that as particular individuals, that doesn't really change. That's the core of who you are. And for me, I think I'm a creative person. I, I anything to do with art, design, crafts. Uh, you know, it really excites me and brings me joy. And I'm an observant person. I observe people around me, things around me. Um, I so and I think that kind of and a very instinctive person actually. I think the observing and my basic core instinct kind of helps me a lot to be that creative person that I am. And so that would be one. And second thing would be passionate. I think
Mhm.
I do everything that I do with a lot of passion, with a lot of diligence. Um, and if I don't feel that passion about something or I don't believe in it, I just don't get into it. Because I feel like if I'm doing something, I do it 100%. And it can be a good thing and a bad thing because it kind of leads you to become a perfectionist, but that's not always how it works. Um, so that's one. That's the second thing. Third would be um, I'm a very self-aware person, I believe. I think a grounded person because I feel I know where I come from. I know what I've been through. I know what kind of background I have. I know, uh, you know, and I think that brings a lot of compassion towards everybody else around me, and be it people, be it animals, um, and also, like, when I say grounded, I think I'm also a nature person. I
Yeah.
love being around nature. Not much of a city person, honestly. But so yeah, I mean, if I could just like live away from the city, I'd be the most happiest. But so yes, I think these are core things. These are core things that make me who I am. Um, not uh, These are things that haven't changed over
Yeah.
time,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? There are
Yeah.
other things like the other things like like I was a very patient person when
Yeah.
I was a single person, when I was in college, when I was working. I think my patience level have gone down over time. so So yeah, there are changes like that that of course happens, but these are core. These are
Yeah.
core.
Yeah. And talking about, your patience levels going down, and let's talk about the person who's responsible for it, perhaps. You and Satish met at work, instant connection. Tell me about the beginning. What made you think this is my person?
Well, so Satish and I met through a friend. I was actually in between jobs and I was looking for a new job, and one of my friend introduced us, and there was an opportunity in the company where he was working. And it's very funny, he actually interviewed me,
Wow.
and though I wasn't reporting to him, but the interview kind of brought us together, and we kind of started talking, and we knew that this friend of ours was kind of trying to set us up. So one thing led to the other, and it was an instant click, because I don't know, I like to even today when people ask me this question, I don't know how to answer this, because we knew each other for a very short span of time, and in that short span of time, it was like an instant connection.
Yeah.
And I just tell people this, that there was this connection which to till today it's there, and it's a very strong connection, like we were just meant to be.
Mm.
And irrespective of everything else, it's just that one link that's there, and you can't change that.
Yeah.
So it just happened, and it was an instant click. We started dating, dated for about a year and a half, and we got married. We came from different backgrounds. I'm from Kerala, he's from UP, so it was really like a two-state marriage. Uh, so we had a few like initial trouble with the family, but things sorted out. Um, so yeah, 2015 January we got married, and 2015 was a very eventful year, because Jan we got married. We Satish had already started the business. I joined him. It had just been 2 months
Yeah.
since when he started it, and I joined him in Jan. So we got married. We started the business. We shifted into our house, new house. We got a dog, Hachi, who was our first baby. And so yeah, and we were building the business, and the first years obviously very, very difficult. There are lots of ups and downs. um, so yeah, that's how we kind of ended up together.
But when you got married in 2015, as you said, and started the business together, did you realize how intertwined your lives were about to become?
No, no, no way. Like we didn't even think about it. I think in that moment, it was just so exciting, and it was just so nice, because see, I think Satish and I get along really well in terms of um, working together, um, because we had, like, in terms of our life goals, in terms of our dreams of what we want from our life, also from the business, everything kind of aligned. We never had any you know arguments or any kind of mismatch about what we wanted.
Yeah.
So I think that really helped, because at that point of time we never thought that how complicated things could become.
Yeah.
um, it's just at that point it was nice working with him, being around him. Um, and we were working at that point of time we didn't even have an office, so it was working from home.
Yeah.
And so there was no uh, you know barrier between your work and your personal life. It was all just muddled up, and at that point it seemed all okay. There was no issues. um, so we continued, and the problem started happening much later, right? When you start realizing that it's also muddled up, that there's no line between um, who you are as individuals and as a couple, and versus who you are as partners trying to build a company.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so slowly, I think over time, I started realizing, because certain expectations you have from your partner, um, like we would wake up in the morning, we would start working at 10, we would work till like 9 in the night, um, and then we would break for some time and again start working. We would work till 3 in the night,
Wow.
and it was just, and this is we were a small team. I mean, we were bootstrapped, and it was just Satish and me, and we had two people who would help us with the packing and shipping and all those things. But primarily, all the core functions were just handled by us, and it also helped that his skill sets and my skill sets were very complementary. So I had certain things that I had to handle. He had certain things he had to handle. So we didn't have any conflict in that perspective. But when it came to personal life, I think the conflicts started happening slowly over like 2 years later, which kept going on. And honestly, we didn't realize it for the longest time. But gradually kept building. You don't realize it at that point, but it just adds up, right?
Yeah.
So, and we were so, I think the first 5 years, we were just so busy with our, building the company, building the brands. We never even stopped to get help, or maybe figure things out ourselves. I think there were one or two points where I did try to, and at that point of time, he didn't believe in getting like a therapist or getting help. So that never happened, and uh, slowly things kept going on and on. And there were differences, but I think we forgot the minute we were working, we forgot,
Yeah.
right? So it just kept, we just like kept putting everything under the rug. So yeah, and that's how it kept on building. And yeah, I think that
But
it
what
there was never a solution.
But you say that, now you're consciously working on your personal relationship after 12 years. What does it look like in real life? Like, how do you work on it?
So yeah, with us, what happened is the with the business and with all this happening, we never had time to kind of look at ourselves as a couple, as an individuals, as who we want, what we want from each other, who we are, what is triggering the other person, what is leading to all these fights. And we've had, like, it's just so weird because we would have a fight, and we would get into this cold war, which would go on for like days. And we would go to work, we would be at work, everything's normal. Nobody would get to know that, okay, there's anything happening, right? And then we are back home, and again the cold war is going on. So it would just go on like that for many days. And I think we got into this cycle of this repeated cycle
Yeah.
of fight and cold war, and then again things could get better. Then there would be phases where things would all be fine, everything seems nice. Then again one day something will happen, and then it would trigger. So this cycle kept happening. And when we had Vivaan, things got even more complicated,
Yeah.
uh, because with a kid in the equation, you know it again, like a lot of expectations from each other, um, which were not fulfilled, and which leads to a lot of resentment, build-ups, um, and communication gaps, I feel,
Yeah.
which may, again, um, people say, like how everybody's love language is different,
Yeah.
right? So what, say, I was expecting from him, he couldn't understand. What he was expecting from me, I couldn't understand, and we were not able to give that to each other. And over time, I think the last 2 years is where we've had a lot of in-depth conversations about, what has happened, um, what we want out of life. See, eventually, one good thing is that, um, the love has always been there. The
Yeah.
connection that I was talking to you has been always been there. Um, I don't think we both can even think of a life separate
Yeah.
from each other.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of figuring out how to fix, things, how to get out of these cycles. And we've over the last 2 years, we've also tried getting, therapy. We've tried getting help from professionals, and some of it has helped. We are still in the process, so there's a lot we need to still work on. But things have definitely gotten better because certain things that again, it's not just a couples therapy. I feel it's also individual therapy,
Yes.
because as individuals, all of our expectations, all of our needs are coming from certain things that we think in our head, right? Which we want, or what we have experienced as part of our lives as individuals. And I think somewhere we need to first look inward, work on ourselves. And I think only then is when then we can also be able to look at the other person's perspective.
Yeah.
So we are in that process. We are slowly trying to do things that we never were able to do as couples, because the entire time of building, the brands and working together, we've had a very isolated life. I would say, when I say isolated, it's, like how they say that, entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. It
Yeah.
truly has been for us. The fact that we were together was a very big thing for us. I mean, at least we had each other to kind of, uh, bounce things off, or even in the lowest times we had each other. But at the same point of time, while doing this, while working all these like 14, 15 hours, we didn't really have a social life.
Yeah.
And we had very few friends around whom we would hang out with. We didn't have um, colleagues, right? There are no colleagues. And it's event so slow. And we had dogs. Now another thing was that even if we wanted to like travel, where do we keep the dogs? What do we do
Yeah.
with them? What will happen to who's going to manage work? um, if we wanted to even say go out on a date night, again the logistics, right? So it's very, and with that, we slowly stopped doing all those things, and we stopped you know being with each other or enjoying time with each other. And so yeah, I think slowly, so now in the last 1 year is where we are consciously trying to um, take time out from everything else, spend more time together, um, do things that we've never been able to do. um, for example, once we were just thinking and we were like, in the last 8 years, we have not traveled alone, just the two of us.
Wow.
It's always been, we've traveled a lot, like we've
Yeah.
traveled a lot in the last few years, but it's always been either with Vivaan, or with parents, or with friends, or with dogs. So, as two individuals, we have never spent that time together. We've never been able to. And I think now for us, it's more about reconnecting as two individuals who fell in love, remembering what it was like,
Yeah.
and coming back to, that now after
Yeah.
12 years.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I can see traces of my journey also with my partner in this, you know. Yeah. But tell me about having Vivan. You waited 5 years before deciding to, have the child. When did you know and how did you know that it was time?
Um, well, So 5 years went, it was the 5 years when we were building the company, and we really did not have time to think about anything else at that point of time. And uh, there was, of course, like, family pressure, saying that, ab 5 saal ho gaye, so why are you guys not thinking?
Yeah.
Um, and both of us wanted kids. That was one thing that was clear. And both of us honestly wanted 3 kids.
Wow.
Um, because we always felt that having three good kids would be like a nice equation between the kids. I mean, I think that's a very hypothetical situation, because I mean the equation is definitely good, but we never thought about how that would be for us,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I think when it was after 5 years, it wasn't like, we just thought that okay, it's time. Things got easier at work a little bit after 5 years. Things started stabilizing a bit more, where there were we could everything was things were still dependent on us, but we felt that if not now, it will be too late,
Yeah.
right? So that's where we thought that okay, now it's time.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, so and we had Vivaan in 2020 in
Yeah.
the midst of COVID. My entire pregnancy was during COVID, when
Yeah.
so everything was, and I think it was a good thing also, because I kind of got my time away from work. Though work was happening, things were shut, I was still working from home, but I kind of got some mental space.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I could spend time doing. I painted a little bit while I was free at home. I read. So there were things that I otherwise was not able to do, which I did during that time. I binge watched a lot of things, and ate a lot. Did not exercise at all. So, so I think the pregnancy journey was very smooth, honestly, with Vivan, and there were no complications or anything like that. It was a breeze, honestly. It was only during the first 1 or 2 months where I felt a little uncomfortable, but after that, everything was perfect. Towards the end, I think just the last month is where I started feeling a little uneasy, and I was like, up, bus, up, let's just get done with this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was just waiting, and then that happened. He was born. Um, so yeah, the whole pregnancy journey was quite not very difficult for
Yeah.
me, and his birth was also quite smooth, actually. Um, so I had a natural delivery, and I so it happened very quickly, honestly. Like, uh, I woke up at 6 o'clock. My water broke. By 7 o'clock, we were in the hospital, um, and the doctor said that yeah, it's time. And so by 8 o'clock, they induced, and they said, okay, now we'll wait. The the what do you call it? Sorry, my shit, I'm forgetting the word.
Dilation.
No, no, the no, uh,
I don't know. I didn't have a natural birth, so I don't know what you're talking about.
no, the feeling that keeps coming.
Contractions.
Yeah, the contractions, correct. Yeah, they started happening, and it was started smoothly. By 8 o'clock, it started, built up, built up, built up, and at one stage, I was like, I didn't have any epidural.
Hmm.
Um, so it was real. It was really happening, and I was like, at one point, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Give me epidural. And the doctor was like, she didn't want to tell me that it's too late. We can't do it anymore. and she said ki, oh, okay, okay, we are giving it to you through IV and all of that. And I knew that you can't give epidural through IV, and I was like, I was pissed off at the doctor in the middle of all of that, but I was like, okay, fine, let's just like get done with this. So, and but it was smooth. 8 o'clock it started, 10 o'clock Vivaan was out,
Wow.
and it was all done, and it was a breeze, honestly. And now when I think about it, and when I hear stories of how uh, delivery is for a lot of women, I feel I had it quite easy, and it was, touch wood, it just went really well.
Yeah, yeah. But tell me about the initial days. What do you remember most about the first few days?
uh the f- the first 3 months, I would say, I was literally a haze.
Hmm.
I don't remember much because I was in a very zoned out state. To be honest, I feel like people don't tell you what happens,
Yeah,
right? You're never prepared. You're never prepared because my entire pregnancy also I thought ki okay, sab sahi hai, sab acha chal raha hai, everything will happen. Nobody tells you what happens after the kid is born,
yeah,
right? How hard it's going to be, what is going to, you're just basically thrown into this thing, and you just have to figure out. And it's very hard. The first 3 months for me, like I had my mom over, she was there for 3 months, and I remember, like, of course, the I was tired all the time. There was no sleep, no sleep, and I was in this daze,
yeah,
and I'm doing everything's happening, but I'm just like not in my right senses.
yeah,
um and um so and yeah, it's hard the first, like, and so the first, of course, 3 months, the constant you're constantly like you're there for the little human that you've created, and you no more, you're
yeah,
not you anymore.
yeah,
You're just transformed into a different person, of who's expected to do so many things that you were never prepared for.
yeah,
um, and while all this is happening is when you're also figuring out,
yeah,
um, uh, you're googling, you're seeing other things, what people are talking about, you're trying to figure things out on the go. So first 3 months, and also my mom was there, so it was easier. So she used to help me out in the middle of the night, but even then, like, breastfeeding, so you have to
yeah,
wake up, you have to do it.
yeah.
So and he would, so every 2 hours you wake up, you breastfeed, and then it's a 45 minutes thing to make
Cycle.
him sleep
Yeah,
again, and then in like 1.5 hours again, it's 2 hours time. So by the clock you have to do it. So I think that was very, very difficult
yeah,
initially. um, and then after 3 months, my mom had to go back, and Satish's parents came, but they couldn't really help much with the entire process. I did not have a nanny at that point of time because and it was a conscious decision. It was my own decision where I was like, I want to do everything myself. I want to
yeah,
do everything for the kid. Uh, I want that attachment. I want him to feel attached to me, um, which I don't know, which maybe looking back now, I feel good that I did that, but at the same point of time, it did kind of take a toll on my health,
yeah,
right? So I was doing everything, and those first 3 months, I did not work. I was away from work completely, and Satish was completely handling work, so he was also busy, very busy with work, and we also had a lot of changes going on in the company at that point of time. So he couldn't also spend a lot of time with us at that point. Um, so after the 3 months, I started working from home,
yeah,
slowly, certain things, managing things. But that was the hardest part, I felt. Like when I had to, work also, and take care of the baby. The Like I would even in the afternoons, like if in the middle of calls, for example, I would schedule a call with my team at the time during his nap time. And in between calls, at least three times I would have to run because he would wake up every like 20, 15 minutes or 20 minutes. And then I had to put him back to sleep and then come back. So that was a little hard. And then I realized that, I can't do this. I need help. That's when I got my nanny, and touch wood, I've been very lucky with that because so she came in and she has been like a second mother to him,
Wow.
and she's been with us for the last 5 years, and she has been a huge, huge help. Like I think I wouldn't have been able to function or be myself if I hadn't, if she wasn't there.
Yeah.
So so eighth month is where I started going to office, and we would go to office. The whole family would go to office.
Yeah.
Uh, so Satish, me, Vivaan, the nanny, the two dogs,
Yeah.
everybody would go to office. And even before Vivaan was born, it was like that, where Satish and I and the two dogs, like our dogs
Hmm.
were always part of the entire, ecosystem, be it at home or at office. They would always be there. I think there were times where even if we are not going to office, Hachi would go to office. so 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 yeah, I think that was a good and in office, once Vivan was born, we created a small space where
Hmm.
it became like his nursery kind of a space, which was a good thing, because there's always this constant struggle where you don't want to give up on your motherhood journey, you don't want to give up on your ambitions or what you're doing. And it's very hard to justify, to do
Yeah.
both, to balance
Yeah.
both. And and there's always a guilt. When you're here, you are guilty about not being there. When you're here, you're guilty about not being there. So having Vivan in the office really helped, because, and I'm lucky that I had that option
Yeah.
to do that, which many mothers don't have that option. And because we were doing our own thing, I had that option to create that situation for myself. So we had him there, and it was nice because I would work. Every time I had a break, I would go meet him. I could breastfeed him. Um, if sometimes if I had to like put him to bed, I could do that. When he's awake, he's playing. He would play with everybody in the office, so everybody
Yeah.
in the office got used to be having him around. So he would interact with everybody, the dogs would be there. So we never felt, it was a nice arrangement, honestly. um, uh, like I remember once he was about 2.5 or 3, and I remember one comment where we just reached office, and he was like, he was perfectly, okay with the whole arrangement, and he was like, mama, आप जब काम करके बोर हो जाओगे तो आप नीचे आ जाना, right? So it was just very nice, that arrangement. And then obviously things changed when he started going to school. Then the entire equations changed, and schedules changed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it was.
Yeah. And you've also said that parenting has been heavier on your plate than Satish's. So, and that has led to arguments and resentment. What did these sound like, feel like?
Like I said, when we had Vivan, so actually, it all began maybe with pregnancy, because during COVID, even every time I would go for my checkups, also, he was not allowed to come.
Oh,
He was not allowed to come into the ultrasound, room, and because of the entire COVID restrictions and all. So my pregnancy journey also, I felt like, I had to do everything myself,
yeah.
right? I had to go to the doctor or do this. Like that feeling of, doing it together was not there.
Hmm.
Um, And after that, when he was born, like I said, that there were many changes in the company that were happening at that point of time, and he was, genuinely busy with work. But at that point of time, I felt like, the initial few months or the initial time when you have a newborn, and you are so emotionally, physically drained, and you are figuring things out, and you kind of want some support from your partner. I think he wanted to, but he wasn't able to, and it wasn't exactly how I would have I had expected it to be.
Yeah.
um, so I think that also led to a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, um, and and that continued. It's not that it was just the first few months, but over time, and naturally, as a mother, you kind of take up everything on you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It just happens that, be it the diaper change, and in the night, for example, like once I did not have, like basically once my mom had gone, it was night feeding. He wasn't drinking, like we didn't start formula, so I was breastfeeding him for the first entire year. And every like 2 hours became 3 hours or four
Yeah.
hours
Yeah.
difference, right? But that's the time that you would get to sleep. It obviously got a little bit more easier over time later after 1 year. But during that 1 year, um, I was only waking up, I was only breastfeeding. Satish would just be sleeping, and he sleeps like a log. So then nothing can wake him up. Right. so so I think all that kind of, and then you're just doing, right? So, and you're waking up and you have to work, you're also managing the kid. um, for everything from what does the kid eat,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. You Google, you figure out, you read, you figure out what to eat, how to pump, how to give a bath to the baby. Everything you have to kind of figure out. So that entire journey, I felt it was a lot on me trying to figure things out myself, without having him around to kind of do it together. um, and that continued for a few years. I would say till Vivaan turned 3, where we kind of had a crazy argument, and we had like a big fight. And then slowly, I think after that, he consciously started making more effort to kind of do things. But even then, I feel like it's always harder or more on the mother for sure, because you do everything that you have to do for the kid, and the father gets to do, like does some things, like acha
Yeah.
maine,
Mhm.
um playtime,
Mhm.
or bath time, or I do uh, certain things like taking him for to the park, or there are certain things, of course, that the fathers like Satish does, which he takes him for swimming, he takes him for certain things which are his role. But when you kind of balance it out, it feels like there's still a lot.
Yeah.
It's like I would have ideally wanted it to be a little bit more balanced, uh, but yeah, it doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah. 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 How do you deal with that?
Well, it was hard to honestly to begin with. It was hard, and I had my own emotional journey in that entire thing throughout these 5 years, because like I told you that I was never like diagnosed as such,
Yeah.
but I do
Yeah.
feel like that the first 2 years, um, actually what made me think was that during I think it was about 2.5 years into the 2.5 or 3 years into having Vivan, I spoke to a therapist for myself. And that's when the therapist was like, did you get yourself I think you should get yourself tested and checked, and maybe you might be undergoing depression. And that's when I realized that I never thought of that,
Yeah.
and then I started looking back, and I started looking back at those 2 years. I started looking back at how I have changed in
Yeah.
those 2 years. And I realized that there was this, I was not me.
Yeah.
Like, I was not myself. I was, all those years I was, the 2 3 years, initial 2 3 years of having Vivan, I had become this very different person. um, I was always angry. I
Hmm.
was always frustrated. I was always expecting things and getting disappointed, and then again leading to anger. I was, you know, there were so many emotional ups and downs. Um, so I started realizing that, and at one point, this anger, frustration started coming out not just on Satish but on Vivan also,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And that's where I started thinking that, hold on, like, this is not me, and why am I behaving like this? And a lot of times it was not under my control.
Yeah.
Like, it was like this battle between inside my head, where I was like, what I just did is not right. But in that moment, it's more of a reaction,
Yeah.
right? So I felt like, and when that started, reactions, or the anger started coming out on Vivan, and that's where I was like, this, I need to stop. I can't do this anymore, and I need to figure myself out.
Yeah.
I need to work on myself. I need to calm myself down. And it was not, all this was not just happen. It was happening because of everything that you have to do, everything that you're basically just like is put on you to do from a motherhood perspective. Um, you are managing a household which
Yeah.
becomes, अच्छा आटा खत्म हो गया, ये खत्म हो गया, वो करना है, ये करना है, maid issues. Then you're and of course work, like,
Yeah.
which was a huge part. So you're constantly in this stressed zone,
Yeah.
like you're constantly stressed, and there is nothing you can do about it. What do you do about it? I didn't have um, any outlet
Yeah.
to talk about, to share, to or you know. So as a person, I'm also not somebody um, who kind of talks much in general, and I'm not somebody who shares a lot. But so I think I kind of deal with it myself. I keep it
Yeah.
in, keep it in, keep it in, but then that explodes,
Yeah.
right? So which was also a pattern that I saw, which was happening very frequently. And I realized that, I need to work on myself. I can't expect my relationship or my the way I'm behaving to change, or I can't expect people or things to change and become okay. It has to start from me. um, that's where I think 2 years back is where kind of that journey started, um, where I felt so. You asked me how I'm dealing with it. I think I have stopped. Um, I've taken it all in, like, in the sense, it is my responsibility. I have to do it. Um, I can't expect things from others, or I can't. It's just on me. I have to do it, and I just have to figure out how to reduce my stress level. I have to figure out how to, control my emotions. I have to figure out how to deal with uh, my everyday problems, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was a very internal journey where I said that, okay. Um, so also I felt like, there are many things, like, for example, it was just not the motherhood thing, but certain
Yeah.
things, like, even say when we were traveling, it would always be me who's responsible to do everything,
Yeah.
right? So it never felt like a vacation to me because I'm still like more doing it more on vacations, right? So yeah, I think over time, what I realized is that, I had lost the sense of who I am
Yeah.
in this whole journey of being uh, a founder, being a wife, being a mother, and trying to do all these roles. I kind of there's this constant thing that, what do I want?
Yeah.
What will calm me down? What is it that brings me happiness?
Yeah.
And I felt like if I'm not happy, or if I'm not a calm, in a calm state of mind, um, I can't bring that happiness out to give it to my child.
Yeah.
Right? I will always be this mother who is stressed out, who is angry, who is you know uh, exploding.
Yeah.
Right? So I think, yeah, I think that's where slowly I started. Of course, I had to do everything. Nothing changed in terms of the workload, but
Yeah.
I started doing things to help myself. Um, to And I think one of the things that really helped was taking these small breaks
Hmm.
where I started traveling alone. I would, and it actually started with just like a 2-day trip to Delhi for some work. And I was staying at a friend's place. And that's when I realized that I slept the whole night without waking up, 8 hours of undisturbed sleep. And when I had the whole bed for myself.
Yeah.
And these were like luxuries. And I woke up and I had nothing to do. I just had to drink my coffee and, be myself. I didn't have to worry about कि अच्छा ब्रश कराना है, दूध देना है, school भेजना है. I didn't have to worry about all those things. And I felt like, oh, this is what it feels like to, after all these years, this is what it feels like to be just you,
Yeah.
right? Without the stress of uh, handling another life.
Yeah.
So um so i fe- so i um, um, then realized that, I need to do this more often. And when I came back, I was calmer, I was more myself.
Hmm.
um, it was a nice break. When I came back, I wasn't frustrated, I wasn't angry. But these are just, small things. Of course, you get back to the same routine, same thing started happening. But it was a first step.
Yeah.
It kind of it was a first step, and I started doing that more often. I realized that, whenever we were traveling, we were doing the same things. We would go somewhere, we go to a hotel, we would just do some things here and there. um, our traveling, like Satish and my traveling styles, or what we want, are very different. He's the kind of person who would want to just be in a place, be in the hotel, chill, not do anything. And I'm the kind of person who will be like, okay, I'm here, I want to explore the food, I want to see the culture, I want to do this, I want to trek. um, which was very different. And I felt like, why am I not doing things that I want to do?
Yeah.
Why am I just never thinking about myself,
Hmm.
right? Or no, I mean, what will bring me that calm or bring me that happiness? So small things. I started traveling, I started um, you know creating a bit more of a social circle,
Yeah.
where I could have people. So I have some friends whom I go to, like we go explore restaurants.
Hmm.
um, and also one big change was also when Vivaan started to go to school. We met some families, some
Yeah.
friends, made some friends after all these years. And that was nice also, because if they have their perspectives, everybody has their own motherhood journeys, and which we share. We kind of, you basically have somebody to talk and to tell things. So that was nice, and so we make plans, we do things with the kids, sometimes without the kids. So I feel like, uh, certain things like that. So, recently I went to a retreat, which was a women's retreat, and where it was very it was really nice, because you it was a lot about self reflection, looking inward
Hmm.
about who you are, what you want to become, and uh, based on your individual journeys, and also um, small things that you can do as part of your life, yoga, certain things that help you kind of calm yourself down.
Yeah.
Um, so I've started doing a couple of things like that, which has helped me. I'm trying a lot more now to respond to situations rather than react, which I wouldn't say I'm like I've mastered 100%, but it's still the gigs, it's going on and getting there.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. And you've said that you share a beautiful bond of love, trust, and safety with Vivan. What does that look like in daily life?
So I think Satish has his own equation with Vivan, and I have my own equation. And Vivan, as a kid, he's hyper energetic. Like he is he's a very happy kid, and but he is very hyper, which means he constantly, there's chaos in the house. So we have three dogs now and
Yeah.
him. So, and uh, his equation with the dogs is crazy. They're always running around, they're always doing something. So if he's not doing, then the dogs are doing. Somebody is biting something somewhere, or somebody did susu somewhere, or something or the others happening all the time.
Yeah.
So and he is uh, he's a very uh, happy boy, lots of positive energy. He is stubborn. I feel like, so he has his tantrums, he has his all these things, but I feel like I see so much of me in him,
Oh.
in the sense that all the negatives also. Like, and I feel like, oh, okay, when he's being so stubborn, and I feel like, oh, so that's how it feels to the other person. So and I think, having him makes me think a lot more about who I am, right, and who I should be to him.
Yeah.
And that has evolved a lot. um, and like I told you earlier, like the whole shift started when I noticed that my behavior towards him was changing. And I think um, he's he's very loving, and he's a smart kid. He notices everything. So the minute he sees changes in you, he sees changes between us, he starts noticing all these things. And um, but having said that, with everything, he's the kind of person that, so for him, I am like this person, right? That his go-to person for
Hmm.
for anything, like if he wants something, if he is happy, not happy, cry, is tired, and there's this I really don't know how to explain it, but it's just there's a safety, there's a trust that's there between us. Um, and I hope it stays like that, because of course, as kids grow, things change.
Yeah.
And I've heard generally that boys are very attached to their mothers, which is the case right now.
Yeah.
But let's see how that changes, if at all, with his as time. goes, as he becomes a teenager. So I think I'm dreading him becoming a teenager, because even now his negotiating skills, oh my god, like my biggest pain right now is everyday negotiation for every single thing. So I feel like, half of my time goes in negotiation. Um, but even having said, whatever said and done, if I'm saying something
Mm.
and he will try to get his way done, but eventually he does, I do get my way with him. So, and even physical closeness.
Yeah.
Like I put him to bed every day. He loves to sleep on my tummy. He has this thing that he gets a lot of comfort. He comes and, like, he just like rubs his
Yeah.
hand against mine, and it's just there's small things that where you see that there's a certain comfort that your child is getting from you.
Yeah.
Um, Even
Yeah.
though I am the stricter parent, even though I am the person who scolds him the most, but he'll still come to me.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And you spoke about the little things. Are there any such small moments with him that melt you every single time?
His smile every time, like
Oh.
every time he smiles, I think I can't do anything more. And so once I told him once that every time mama is getting angry, all you have to do is come and give me a hug and a kissy. And he remembers that, and he does that every time. It happened last night also. Something,
Wow.
he spilled something, and I was a little upset. Immediately he came and hugged me and gave me a kissy, and I can't do anything. I just smiled.
Yeah.
It's just natural. And then he's like, "See, now you're happy."
Yeah.
So small things like that. And I think nowadays, now he's 5 now, so now he has started becoming more of a person himself, and his own thought process, and he has uh, his own plans to do things. So but I still feel like, at this stage, even though he negotiates, he tries to be all smart and all of that, but there's this still innocence that's still there.
Yeah.
um, he wants to grow up, and he wants to love work. And I asked him, if you're working, say, somewhere in a different part of the country or somewhere else, what will you do? So he says he'll go travel, work there, and he'll come back and live with us. Right? He's living with us, even, like, whatever. That's his idea of how future is going to be. And he's very caring that way. And uh, even um, I think if I have to tell you some instance, uh, so there's this really small thing, like when he was a baby, like, he was like 1 year old or 1.5. I made up this story so that he could go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, he would just keep talking. Like, the whole nighttime routine is a very long routine where the talks never end, right? So,
Yeah.
and I told him that, if you uh, there's an eagle that would come and hear if children keep talking in the night. And he was very scared of that eagle. Even till date, he knows that it might not happen, but even till date he believes that, okay, there's an eagle that will come. So I feel like that innocence is still there.
Yeah.
He knows that Santa is not real,
Yeah.
but he still believes in Santa and
Yeah.
the gifts that he gets. So it's very nice. It's amazing to see how with every year there are so many transformations, so many changes in how they talk, how they think, what they believe is uh, the closest to them, or what they want to do. What is their priority? The priority keeps changing.
Yeah.
So it's very nice to kind of see that kind of change. And in terms of instances, I usually, like I told you earlier, that I am very bad at remembering things. So certain things happen, and at that moment I feel like I want to remember this forever.
Yeah.
And and then 2 days later I've forgotten. Right? So what I started doing when he was about 5 months old was that in my I have a draft email on my Google, and every time something would happen, I would make a note
Yeah.
over there. So I have this email where everything that he ate, everything that he said, every like milestone, everything, I have it put over there. So I know that even if I forget one day, I can always go back and look at it.
You should have brought that email to us in this episode.
There
But
are many, many small things like names we have called him, like his
yeah.
nicknames, the first words that he said, things that I will miss about him as a kid, things that I will not miss about him as a kid. So so there's this whole I just keep putting things over there as and when it happens, so that I don't forget about it.
Beautiful. I think I'm going to take that away. That idea, I'm going to steal it and use it someday when I
Yeah.
gather the energy. But tell me, Maya, if you could sit across with Maya from 2020s, ambitious, in control, starting motherhood during a pandemic, what would you tell her?
I feel like, I mean, it's very hard to say this, but I feel um, I would tell her to not try to be in control so much, not try to perfect everything, not because it's not possible. It's never possible to be in full control. There are so many things that will happen that you have no control over. There is nothing called perfect parenting. You can only just do what you feel is right for your kid. And again, like as we evolve, the what we think is right also changes,
Yeah.
right? um, so you do what is best, and then you know hope that things kind of work out. You can't um, I think a lot of my, like, the anger issues, the problems, I think it all also starts with the fact that I'm always trying to do things the right way, the
Yeah.
perfect way, make it right. It's not possible. That's something that I'm also learning, and in the journey, I've not perfected that yet. As in, I've not. I'm still in that journey, but. That would be one for sure. And second would be to early on maybe think of your own mental and physical health.
Yeah.
Um, Instead of, I feel like, not letting things get to me. Before letting things get to me, try to work on that. Ease yours. Give yourself some, you know, uh, time to relax, to kind of be yourself. I
Yeah.
think that is something that I would tell my pre-motherhood self.
Beautiful. And for my last question for you today, if you could leave our listeners, especially entrepreneurial mothers building businesses with their partners, with one truth, what would it be?
It's a lot. It's a lot. Right? I think I like, with as per I mean, I think it's actually a lot, because even today when people ask me that is it a good idea to work with your partner, based on my experience, based on my journey, again it would again it would depend on everybody's
Yeah.
priorities, right? What they want from their own individual lives and how their equation with their partners are. But I feel like I wouldn't suggest it, um, because it's always nice to keep your work and your personal life separate, I would say, because things get complicated. You want it or not, it will happen.
Yeah.
And um, as long as you're sure about how you're going to take that path, and how you're going to ensure that you are able to live those two lives separately. So it's and then motherhood in the equation just kind of takes it to a different level altogether. So it's definitely very hard, but at the same point of time I feel like it is doable.
Yeah.
I feel, say, for example, if I had to talk about individual ambition and motherhood, I would say um, it's everybody's individual choice, of course. Some people choose to, parent, be a full time mom, and spend the entire time with their kid. And some people choose ambition or work over spending time with their children. There's nothing right or wrong in this, because
Yeah.
everybody has their own choice. But at the same, I feel like it is possible to do both, if you have the right support. And I think asking for that support, getting that help, and at the same time not letting it stress you and overwhelm you, because it is very overwhelming, the entire motherhood journey and an entrepreneurship journey, both. So it I feel it is possible, but without help it's not. You
Yeah.
need help.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as long as you have figured that out, and it's possible. um, So yeah, I think my advice would be to always also keep yourself. You're an individual, right? I think as individuals, we shouldn't forget that who we are or what we want. We have an individual life. We have an individual purpose. Our purpose is not only to become a mother or to become a entrepreneur or a wife, but it's as an individual also take care of yourself,
Yeah.
right? Give
Yeah.
yourself that importance also.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
Wow.
that's what I would say.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you so much for your honesty, and thank you so much for opening up so vulnerably and so beautifully. I loved our conversation. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you, Neha. I think I've not spoken like this in many, many years. But thank you so much for having me on this podcast, and hearing me out. It was wonderful, and yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you. And to everyone listening, if this conversation resonated, please share it with another parent who might need it. Follow Parenthood, leave a review, and help this space grow. This is Parenthood. I am Neha. See you next week. Bye bye.